Hello everyone, Cindy here with Monarch Mom DIY. Thank you so much for joining me today on my channel where I love to bring you my best tips and tools to inspire you to create beautiful home decor on a budget. Today I'm back with 4 more quick and easy budget fall home decor DIYs. So with all that being said, let's get crafting. For our first DIY, we're going to take 3 of these pumpkin shapes from Dollar Tree, as well as one of these adhesive wall tiles and some other things to make a 3D pumpkin. So I like taking these smaller pieces from Dollar Tree and combining them to make a larger piece. So the first thing I'm going to do is, with my heating tool here, remove the stickers from the back of these 3 pumpkins. Then I'm just going to take my little sander and just smooth out anywhere that maybe some gumminess was left from the label. We're going to take our Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster, and we're going to paint these on the back here and on all the sides. Once we've painted all 3 of our pumpkins and they're drying, we're going to come now to our tile and we're going to trace the front of each of the pumpkins onto the tile. I'm going to try to get different parts of the pattern from the tile on the 3 different pumpkins. So I'm just tracing on the back with a Sharpie, and then I'm going to cut out the piece of the tile to fit on the front of each pumpkin. Next, taking our hot glue gun, I'm going to glue around the edges of the pumpkin, and you can see that I actually have the pumpkin upside down. I have the hole from where I took out the stem is actually going to be down on the bottom. So I'm going to glue all 3 pieces of the tile here to the fronts of our pumpkins. Next, taking my Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster, I'm going to completely paint the silver color of the adhesive wall tile on all 3 of the pumpkins. Once that color has dried, I'm going to take my pumpkin chalk paint and a chippy brush, and I'm just going to start lightly brushing over the raised pattern from the adhesive tile. This is where you can just go with what you feel with this orange color, as little or as much as you'd like on top of the plaster cream color. Then once the orange is dry, I decided to take my Tim Holtz Distressing ink in the color Vintage Photo, and I'm going to use that to kind of antique the front of this pumpkin as well. I'm using this sponge to add to the raised areas, and then I'm also pressing down into the flatter areas. Just go with what you feel and what you prefer. If you'd rather keep these solid cream color, you can do that as well. Once those are completely dry, you can see I'm using the ruler there that has an edge to kind of see where to line up the bottom 2 or the outside 2 pumpkins. And then I'm going to slightly raise up the one in the center as I glue it down. Once that's completely dry, you can see I'm going to now embellish my pumpkin. I'm going to add a little stem piece there for the stem. I'm going to add a couple of floral leaves here from my stash, just gluing those on either side of the stem. Then I'm going to take some of these pip berries. I'm going to cut a length of them, and I'm going to wrap them a few times around the stem and then just kind of crinkle them going off to either side of the pumpkin. And the final thing I'm going to add is one of these raffia bows with a button on it from Hobby Lobby, just gluing that right there at the base of the stem. And I love how simple and cute this is. You could make a whole bunch of these pumpkins, and I think they would be just adorable. If you're stopping by my channel for the first time today, welcome. I am so glad that you found me. I hope you'll consider sticking around by hitting that subscribe button. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support of my channel. I hope everyone will take a second, tap that bell notification so that you can set your notifications to all to make sure that YouTube will send you notifications when I go live on my channel or post a new video. For DIY number 2, we're going to use a page from a Dollar Tree calendar, a couple of these 12-inch wood rounds from Dollar Tree, and some beads from Hobby Lobby to make a really cute fall wall hanging. So the first thing I'm going to do is apply some matte finish Mod Podge to this wood round from Dollar Tree, and actually I believe this is 2 of them that I glued together with wood glue to make them a little bit thicker. I'm going to make sure my layer of Mod Podge is as even as possible, and then we're going to set this aside to dry completely. Coming now to the super cute Farm Life calendar, I'm going to pull out the page for November. It's a buffalo check background with kind of a leaf wreath, and it says it's fall, y'all. You can see it's a little bit smaller than the wood round. I'm going to use the splatter cover from Dollar Tree to trace as close of a circle as I can, and then we will get this Mod Podged onto the wood round. Because our Mod Podge is completely dried on our wood surface, we're going to go ahead and center our calendar page as best as we can. Then taking some parchment paper, we're going to put that over our calendar page and then use a warm iron to reactivate the dried Mod Podge to grab onto the back of the calendar page. This is a really clean, easy way to Mod Podge something, especially a thin paper like these calendar pages, onto a surface and get them as flat as possible. I didn't like that you could see the wood edge, and since I didn't paint it ahead of time, I took that Tim Holtz Distressing ink again, and I'm going to go around anywhere that you can see the wood outside of the calendar page. You're going to see here in a second that I'm also going to glue some beads on the front, so those will help hide this as well. So taking this strand of beads from Hobby Lobby, you can see I made a double length of wire, floral wire, and I'm going to use this. It's a little easier to shape than just the string that these beads are on. So I believe I used around 51 of these larger wood beads from Hobby Lobby, put them on the wire, and made a nice loop that would fit all the way around the outside of this circle. Now I'm going to use a mixture of E6000 and hot glue. You can see I'm taking my E6000 and I'm just doing some dots every couple of inches around the outside of the round, and then I will fill in between those dots with my hot glue. And once I have my glue down, I'm going to quickly get my bead round here shaped as best I can. I'm pressing it into the glue and also bending it to hopefully match the shape of the wood round that's on the base of this project. To finish this off, I'm going to make a little bow to glue to the front to cover up the hole from the calendar page. And then I'm going to use another length of the ribbon to glue it on the back to make a hanger for this wood round. If you love budget home decor DIY videos like this one, please consider giving this video a thumbs up, as that lets YouTube know that people are enjoying my content and they'll show it to more and more viewers. For DIY number 3, we're going to take one of these house-shaped shelf sitters from Dollar Tree, and we're going to decorate it up for fall using a wood letter, some mini pumpkins, acorns, sunflowers, and hay bales. So these are pretty easy to separate the frame from the backing, and I find this just makes it easier when you're trying to put a different cover on the back. So I'm getting away any excess paper that would show, and then we're going to peel off all the paper from the back of the house shape. Next, I'm going to take this scrapbook paper and I'm going to trace the outline from the back of our house here onto the paper and cut that out. And then we will Mod Podge it onto the house. Now coming to the frame, I'm going to use my Waverly Antique Wax. We're going to brush this on. I'm going to go all the way around the outside of the frame, and then I'm going to come back with a paper towel and wipe off the excess. Then I'm going to do the front and then the inside. Once the frame of the house is completely dried, I'm going to run a bead of hot glue all along the back edge of the house shape, and then we'll place it back down onto the backing. I decided to use this word cutout from Dollar Tree that says Hello Autumn, and I'm just going to paint this with one coat of our Waverly chalk paint in the color Pumpkin. And now that the base of our project is put together, we're gonna start decorating it with a couple of these small pumpkins that were on picks. I'm cutting them in half so that they'll be flat on the back. I'm using 4 of the little mini hay bales from Dollar Tree, a couple of acorns from Dollar Tree, and a couple of the small sunflowers. And lastly, I decided to add at the very top of the house another one of these raffia bows, this time without the button. If you are on Facebook and not already following my Monarch Mom DIY Facebook page, I would love it if you would hop over there, follow that page. I do go live there multiple times during the week doing different projects than what I'm showing here on YouTube. For the fourth and final DIY for this video, I'm going to make this welcome fall sign. I'm using one of these segmented pumpkin hanging signs from Dollar Tree, 2 of these large Halloween signs, some giant craft sticks, and some scrapbook paper. I'm also going to use one of my stencils from my Magnolia Design Co. website. So these 2 large Halloween signs can be attached together on the back to make one larger sign. I'm going to use 5 of these giant craft sticks from Walmart. We're just going to glue these across the back to secure these 2 signs together. The next thing I'm going to do is take my Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster, and I'm going to do 1 coat on the front of this sign, actually now the backs of the sign that we're using for the front. And I'm not too worried if I leave some of the brown showing through. That'll just add to the farmhouse look of this project. While that's drying, we're going to take this pumpkin, and you can peel the paper off, or you can just attach your scrapbook paper right over this paper, and then you're going to glue this down on a sign so it doesn't really matter what the back side looks like. So I have 5 different fall scrapbook papers here, and I'm just going to trace each piece onto the scrapbook paper so that then I can cut it out and it will pretty much match to cover up the piece of the pumpkin. Now you can see that I've used these pumpkin pieces for something else, so just pretend that's not there. I like to reuse things sometimes. Once I have all those pieces cut out, I'm going to apply some Mod Podge to my pumpkin piece, and then I'm going to stick down my cutout piece of scrapbook paper. We're going to press that down really well and let it dry completely. While my pumpkin pieces are drying, I'm going to come back to my sign. I'm going to sand it a little bit, and then you're going to see I'm going to take a yardstick and I'm going to draw the lines as if this actually was a piece of shiplap wood. Once I had those marker lines drawn, I did take my sander again and kind of smudge them out to make them look more like cracks and not like marker drawn on a board. I really love the look of this, and I love how you can add more or take some away with the sander. Next, we're going to take our pumpkin pieces that are covered with the scrapbook paper. I'm going to take the sander again, and I'm going to go around the edges of each piece to get off any excess that is there and make them nice and smooth. And once they were all sanded, I decided to use the distressing ink again and go around each of the segments of the pumpkin. I think this is going to give a really cool look when we basically put the puzzle together and glue it to this sign. So now that I have them all placed where I want them, I'm going to glue them down to the board one at a time. Then coming up to the top, this is the fall welcome stencil that I decided to use from Magnolia. It fits perfectly, just a little bit of the E is going to hang off the edge there. So I'm going to get that smoothed down, and then I'm going to use the color olive for the word welcome and dusky blue for the word fall. To frame out the top and bottom of our sign, I'm going to glue a piece of plain burlap ribbon across the top and also across the bottom. And then I'm going to use this skinnier kind of burnt orange color right in the middle of the burlap, both at the top and the bottom. And we're going to put this as a little bow on the top of the pumpkin stem. And the last thing I'm going to do is add a length of beads here at the top. We're going to tie a knot through the far right and the far left holes of this sign and have this beaded hanger. Thanks again so much for joining me today. As always, please let me know in the comments what you thought of this video, which of these projects was your favorite, and we'll see you next time. Take care.